Good evening. Welcome to the Southbridge School Committee meeting. Tonight is Wednesday, May 27th, 2015. Please join the school committee in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'd like to call the meeting to, I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. Please, can I have a roll call?
Mrs. Comden?
Present.
Mr. Olivo?
Present.
Dr. Page?
Present.
Mrs. Donovan?
Present.
Mrs. Quinney?
Present.
Mr. Abrahamson?
Present.
Mrs. McLaughlin?
Present.
All present.
Thank you. Before we get to the next agenda item, I do have an announcement to make. There will be a change in this evening's agenda. After school committee reports under agenda item 7, I will request a motion that the school committee enter executive session. If this motion passes, no additional agenda items will be taken up this evening, and the school committee will reconvene in open session for the sole purpose of adjournment. The remaining items on tonight's agenda will be taken up either at a special meeting before June 9th or at our regularly scheduled meeting on June 9th. Any meeting will be posted on the district website and in accordance with the state's open meeting law. So I just wanted to make everybody aware. So now we have agenda item number 3, which is public input. Is there anybody from the public who would like to address the school committee this evening?
Good evening, Madam Chair, school committee members, members of the public. My name is Esteban Carrasco, 30 Woodland Street, Southbridge, Mass. Citizen, parent, and also a town councilor. I had the privilege of attending yesterday's meeting, sat in the corner and just listened to the public because I felt that wasn't my place to speak, just my personal opinion. So I'm here tonight to speak because I believe there's certain things that I think are getting lost here in this whole restructure. And I just want to make sure that it's said. Number one, this restructure does not only affect Southbridge Middle High School. There's a lot of attention on Southbridge Middle High School, but this is a district-wide restructure. I read the 88 pages of presentation or report, however you want to say it. There is an academic dean being removed from Charlton Street School and West Street School. There is also the director of student affairs being removed. So this is just not only Southbridge Middle High School. This is a whole district-wide restructuring in which will cause, once again, instability in our whole district. There's one thing that I want to make sure is said, and it's called continuity of care. Children thrive in a stable atmosphere. We have some tough kids in Southbridge. They don't have stable homes. Unfortunately, it is what it is. They don't have stable homes. And if we're going to create an unstable environment in our schools, when we're with them at least 40 hours in a week, that's more time sometimes than those kids are with their parents. And if we're going to continue to create unstable environments within our district, we don't have a central office that's organized. Say what you want, say however you want to organize it, how you want to put it. Central office is a mess. We don't have a leader. I said it before, and I stand to what I say. We need to do the superintendent search, starting yesterday. It is imperative that we do a search. For anyone to say that nobody's going to come, I beg to differ. We're not getting recycled material. I beg to differ. We are in a district that is a high-profile district. We know the state is looking at us. We know the whole world's probably looking at us. And somebody's going to want to come in here and put their feet to the fire, put their hands to the plow. But this whole restructure, and I want to make it clear because maybe we're focusing too much on the high school, but the children at Charlton Street School, the children at West Street, our smallest children are going to be affected by this restructure. An academic dean, that's a pretty powerful position. That's someone that's influenced, that's working with our children, working with teachers. Whatever, director of student affairs, that's another important position. Eliminating it, changing our student learning position, that's another unstable environment. So I know you just mentioned that no further actions are going to be taken. So if there is anything that's discussed in executive session and some of these that matters, I hope that's brought up. Continuity of care, stable environment, because our children need our district to be stable. And the restructure and not doing a superintendent search is not providing a stable environment. It's going to hurt us. It will continue to hurt us. We've not had a stable environment for the last 3 years.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you set?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Is there anybody else from the public who would like to address the school committee this evening?
School committee, owner's office. I'm Bill Cody from 243 Everett Street.
Good evening.
I don't know what's happened to this town in the years that have gone past, you know. I've lived here all my life. I remember the days when someone would be down the street sick from my grandmother would bring them soup, not even knowing them. Everybody was helping each other. Now it's everybody cut each other's throat. Discipline. I mean, you didn't dare do things because your neighbors would take care of you. Your parents wouldn't say anything about it. Your school, you wouldn't dare come home and say anything about the school because your parents would hit you again. You know, this thing with the vice principal at the high school, that's a little ridiculous with things. We need to discipline these kids. If there's no recourse for things that they do, who cares? You know, if I eat the candy jar and there's nothing happens to me about eating everything in a candy jar, I'm going to eat it. Why not? You know, we need to discipline the kids. We need to discipline them at home. You know, you can still discipline your kids besides timeout and everything else. You know, things have not gotten that bad. You know, I'm a longtime Southbridge boy. There's a few of us left. You know, we help out anybody that needs helping. We all need to work together, you know, and help these kids out and bring some stability. I mean, my nephew, he wanted to change schools and stuff because he says, you know, I can't learn. There's kids in my classes that, you know, won't help or anything else. I mean, disturbing the classes. So he's finally gotten out of those classes. He's been taking all college classes. He's a sophomore. He's in the honor roll and everything. We need to take the kids that are causing the trouble and put them up at the old high school like was the original plan. What happened to the original plan? You can't teach the kids that don't want to learn, so why let them disrupt the rest of the kids? You know, move them up to the high school. You know, if they want to learn, they'll learn. Maybe they can get transferred back. You know, things need to change. People need to stick together. People need to stop cutting each other's throat. You know, we need to work together, and nobody is working together. You know, none of the teachers know stability up to school. Half of them want to leave. The good teachers want to leave because they're all tired of looking over their shoulders. I was a troublesome kid. I had one teacher, Cheryl Dugois, who took me underneath the wing when I got up to junior high. You know, I misbehaved or something, she'd smack me in the back of the head or grab me by the shoulder. When I did good, she'd pat me on the back. To this day, I know her phone number. It's been 35 years. I still go and see her once in a while. I talk to her, give her a call on the holidays. You know, we're losing the teachers like that. The teachers that it's not just a job to them. You know, because they're watching over their shoulders. Nobody wants to watch over their shoulder. I know I wouldn't want to. I know a number of teachers that are real good teachers that are looking for jobs and leaving. You know, we need some stability. We need people that know what they're doing, not just appoint somebody from within. Like the last gentleman stated, we need to do a search committee, get a superintendent here that knows what they're doing. You know, just don't bump a guy up, bump a guy up. Some of the things, you know, I only hear things here and here, I'm third party, but some of the things I've heard about the superintendent that's working right now, I cannot believe the things I'm hearing, you know. Like Ms. McLaughlin making faces over there.
Yeah, please, we have a policy that you're not supposed to speak about
Okay, but this is it anyways, but one last comment about you. The week of the election, night of the election, I went and looked around, I talked to a few people because I wasn't sure about who I was going to vote. And I asked you what you thought of Mr. Ely. and you told me he has to go. He lies and everything else. 2 weeks later, you voted for an extension for him. What are you just telling people what they need to do to get the vote? I'm sorry, but I am glad to see you leaving. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else from the public who would like to address the school committee? Okay. Seeing none, we're going to move on to agenda item number 4, which is approval of the consent agenda. On tonight's consent agenda, we have the following items: the meeting minutes of May 12, 2015, the regular school committee meeting. We have second readings of policies file FH, improvements to school property by youth organizations, booster clubs, and other organizations, and file KCD, public gifts to the schools. If there's no objection, does any committee member wish to remove any items from the consent agenda this evening? Seeing none, and without objection, the items on the consent agenda are adopted. Thank you. So under my announcements, I had already announced changes regarding tonight's meeting agenda. I'd also like to just very briefly thank people for their attendance and input last evening, and for their input this evening. I appreciate very much that everybody was very articulate and respectful, and I thought the hearing went well, so I appreciate that. This evening we have a couple of presentations. The first presentation is on the Child Nutrition Outreach Program, and so we have Ms. Shirley Yanka and Mr. Nick Billis who are going to approach the podium.
You want me to put this really down here for you? Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Nick Billis, and this is Shirley Yanka. We are the Code Food Service Directors for the town of Southbridge. We're here today to give you an overview of the summer feeding program for 2015. I think everybody's got their packets. This year we have 10 sites. We have the Armory, which is in the community center. We have the YMCA. We have the Southbridge Middle High School, Jacob Edwards Library, House of Destiny, the Grow School, West Street School, which is also the rec program, Eastford Road School, Brookside Terrace, and Holy Trinity Church. We're open 5 days a week for 5 weeks. We serve breakfast and lunch. Not every site gets breakfast, not every site gets lunch, and not every site is 5 days. We looked at other years and the figures, and we actually went by what was the most profitable for us. We had a lot of input, you know, from, like I said, prior years. We have an estimated breakdown of the cost for the program. We get reimbursed for every student that takes part in this, plus we also have a grant that, you know, Aaron Osborne helped with, probably did the whole thing. We're going to be deferring to you a lot tonight. The budget guy. She's the clerk, I'm the food guy. He's the budget guy. So anyway, getting back to this, like I said, we have a breakdown on the salaries, the food, non-food, equipment to be used from the grants that we're getting. And the last page is the grant that, like I said, Aaron, you know, so kindly drew up for us. So, without further ado, I'm sure you have some questions for Shirley.
Sure.
Of course. No. Can you?
I just have one question.
Yes.
The sites that you determined, some of them I've seen in the past, but are any like new this year? Is Holy Trinity new, for example?
We've had that in the past.
You have? Okay,
have.
I wasn't.
We weren't going to, you know, continue with some of the sites because we're actually a little losing money, but at the end, we had a few calls from different people, so we put them in.
Okay. Any other questions? Mrs. Congdon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, through you to Mr. Osborne. How much, I know we have some numbers here that we got yesterday, but it says that grant totals $7,746, but other totals for administrative cost and the total food service staff salaries. What is the district going to be on the hook for?
What is the district going to be on the hook for?
Yes,
I
budget-wise.
don't believe anything directly from the district.
So it'll all be cut, we won't have to pay anything?
Currently, the food service department is operating on a surplus, and that will carry over. Summer programs have tended to in the past been close, I believe. I don't believe we've lost a tremendous amount of money on summer programs in the past relative to, I think, the benefit of feeding students in Southbridge for the summer.
I'd like to interject something here. About 5-6 years ago, we were losing a lot of money. Then, you know, when Katie Alicia took over the year before, she kind of took the bull by the horns, and we either came out even or probably made some. But in the past, it was a losing proposition. I think we lost $7,000 one year because the kids weren't participating. So that's why we cut it down to 5 weeks, because the 6th week was very slow because summer school usually ended. And if you don't have summer school, you don't have the kids coming in. So we tried to kind of cut things close to the vest to save money and at least to break out even.
Right. So we don't know. Is that my answer? Or we're going to take it out of the surplus? So technically, we're taking it out of the...
we won't be taking the entire surplus. The food services department has operated on a surplus since last year. There are obviously ups and downs. The beginning of the year, it typically operates in a negative, catches up, and then exceeds. So to many degrees, we have a summer program that I believe will break even this year. We are running a strict 5-week program as opposed to a 6, which keeps us from losing those students that are in our summer school program. We've really tried to tighten up some of the closed programs. There are 2 types of programs. There are open programs in which any child can come at any time, and those are very difficult to predict numbers for. So we can't tell. We can put food out for 100 kids, and if 20 show up, we have a lot of excess food. And that is very difficult to predict, particularly when you have summer school programs and things like that to rely on. So that last unpredictable week is gone. Plus, we've shorn up some of the called closed programs where we are given a fairly set number. So some of the YMCA programs, Cops and Kids, Holy Trinity, things like that, will be summer programs. They're closed programs where we have a defined number of meals. Additionally, the grant revenues we'll be receiving will be paying some of the equipment costs, some of the packaging costs, and things like that that I believe will be offset.
So we have enough money to support this program?
Yes, I believe we will be adequately funded.
And then just my second question, just because you had mentioned it, and I'm not sure if anyone will be able to answer this. Will the summer rec program be running this year? I just haven't heard either way, if anybody knew that answer.
We're not sure yet.
We're not sure.
Okay. And if not, I think last year there was a program at West Street School that was run by the school district, but it alternated from Charlton Street to West Street School each year. Will that program be at West Street School? Because that last year the program, and I can't remember the name of the program, was at West Street School as well as the summer rec program.
I believe the program will be at West Street again.
So then that's good because we have West Street School instead of Charlton Street School down. And I think that accounted to the high number of meals from the rec program as well as that we provided lunch for that program for the students as well. So thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are there any other questions? Mrs. Quinney?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to Mr. Billis and Ms. Yenka. What is the reimbursement rate for breakfast and lunch?
Got it.
Someplace in here. Come on, where is it?
It's different than the regular school year.
Yeah.
I know we have it in here. Okay, for lunch, it's $364, and for breakfast, it's $207.
207?
Yep.
And of the programs, I know Mr. Osborne had alluded to, some of them are the closed programs, numbers that we can count on, like the YMCA has a set number. How many of these programs aren't closed? How many of them are open?
Two are closed, right?
No, we have Grow that's closed.
Oh, Glow's closed,
Grow is
okay.
closed.
The YMCA, we only have 2, that's right. 2.
And Cops and Kids, and all the others are open. So were these numbers that we're estimating based on past years' trends of how
Yes.
many meals have been typically
Correct.
utilized? Excellent, thank you.
Mrs. Donovan?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, to both of you. I was just wondering about the menu. What is offered? Is it different than what the children receive during the school year?
It's going to be a little different than last year. We're going to have fresh sandwiches, every day, except for Friday. Friday, we're going to have the old beef stick that a lot of people didn't like last year. The reason for that is because on Friday, like we said before, the numbers, like Aaron said, could be 200 at Cops and Kids, and 100 will show up.
Yeah.
And if we have a regular fresh ham, turkey, salami, on a Friday, it's not going to last till Monday, so we're going to have to throw it away. But these beef sticks, I picked the best out of the 5 that we had, and the kids really liked them. I know a few of you didn't.
Have you tried them?
I know. But some of the kids liked them. My wife taught summer school, and she said the kids liked them. But anyway, they have a 6-week shelf life, so we can, use them up again. Because we have to be, frugal.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Are you going to be using existing staff to supply for your drivers and your preparers and things like that?
We had about 12 to 13 people, apply for the summer program, and we picked about 6 or 7.
Okay.
Lynn Roshan is actually the supervisor in charge of the kitchen, and she had, more or less a lot of input into picking the people that she wanted, along with us.
Okay, very good. And then my final question was relative to advertising. Do you have anything to advertise to the community so that they know where these sites are and what times they
we had a big sign that, said, kids eat free, whatever, and we used to put it up on the Rotary. I used to put it up because about the same time the Greek church was having their picnic, and Frank Kumanelis and I would be putting that up, but now either the church lost it or it broke, so we don't have a structure to put it on. We used to have the railroad up above, they used to put it on that, so we'll have to try to find some spot to put it in, but we do try to advertise. We have signs that they're like teepees that say kids eat free, so we have to find those somewhere too.
Okay.
Usually after it's done, they kind of get put away at the old high school, so we're going to have to rummage through all that, but we do try to advertise for this program.
Okay, very good. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Just quickly to follow up on that, will flyers go home to students?
Yes.
Okay,
A letter and a flyer.
great. Thank you.
I'd like to
very
add something that Mrs. Sarah Creelman, she's the Senior Employment Coordinator. The Southbridge Food Service was honored in Boston a few months ago because of the Trade Winds Clubhouse. The Trade Winds, I don't know if you're familiar with it, it's a vocational rehabilitation program for adults living with mental health diagnoses. We used to use them years ago, and then we stopped. This year, Shirley and I reached out to them, and we employ 3 or 4 of their people, and I don't know why, but they picked us as the Employer of the Year, Southbridge, and it was at the State House where Representative Durant gave us an award, so I thought I'd like to share that with you.
Congratulations.
Okay? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, or all set?
I think you're good. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Appreciate it. Our next presentation is regarding a field trip request to New York City. Miriam Krantz, 8th grade English teacher at the middle school.
Good evening, Madam Chair, School Committee. My name is Miriam Kranz. As Mrs. McLaughlin said, I teach 8th grade English Language Arts at the middle high school, and I also run our awesome drama program. I'm here tonight to ask for permission to take a small group of students to New York City next January. The purpose of the trip is to attend a conference called BroadwayCon. It is the first of its kind. It is a fan-inspired event, and I've put together a packet for you of some basic information, as well as some maps of locations for hotel, travel, and as well as some logistics in terms of pricing. So a little bit about BroadwayCon. The founder of this event is Anthony Rapp. He, if you're familiar with the musical Rent, he was in the original cast. He played Mark. He was also in the film adaptation. So he started this event because he wanted the community to come together to celebrate the arts, and also for students and adults to collaborate, network, and learn from each other. So at this particular event, which goes from January 22nd through the 24th, it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, students and anyone really who signs up to go, who pays to go, will have the opportunity to watch performances, meet some of their favorite Broadway stars, discuss theater business with industry professionals, both former and current. And I also included on the back page, which printed upside down, unfortunately, a list of some of the speakers who are coming, and you can see, a brief review of their credentials. They will also have an opportunity to take photos with them, get autographs, ask questions. It's really a wonderful experience that I think our students who are interested in the theater business would really benefit from. So, onto the logistics. Oh, you know what? I just realized I don't think you got the back page for the special guest. Did you not get that?
No.
No, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
I can email that. Okay. Okay, so logistics. All right, so students will have to purchase their own tickets because this is the first year of the event. I did contact them. I asked, can I reserve a group of tickets and then pay by a particular deadline? They said no. So I have met with the students who are interested about 3 times, and they know that the date to purchase tickets, there are 2 dates. There's July 18th and then there's October 17th. Those are the next 2 batch of tickets that will be released. The tickets for the conference are $250. They are pricey, and so students know that they are responsible for purchasing that portion, their entrance into the conference. But I've given them a lot of notice so that they can start saving up for this event if they really, truly want to go. Again, I did contact to see if I could reserve tickets and then from there fundraise, but they said no, you have to pay online with a card, and so parents would have to get involved and help their students do that. In terms of the travel, the idea would be to travel to Union Station in New Haven, Connecticut, take the Metro North Rail to Grand Central Terminal, and then from there travel to the hotel that we would be staying. In maps 1 and 1A, they're double-sided. I've circled the Grand Central Terminal as well as the first hotel, which is also the same location as the event. So we can walk or take the subway. That hotel has a locked-in rate of $229 a night. Divided by 4 students for 3 nights, it would be $171.75 per student. However, I felt that that was very pricey, so I did my own research and I found a couple of other hotels, each within about a mile away of the event, that were much cheaper. So one was $158 per night, which would take the cost to $118.50 per student, and then $135 a night, which would be $101.25 per student. Again, this is not with taxes, so the rate will fluctuate slightly. And then I also estimated the cost of meals. I figure about 9 meals between Thursday afternoon, which is when we would want to leave to get into our hotel, all the way through Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. It's about 9 meals, and I estimated between $15 to $20 a meal, so that came out to between $135 and $180. The round-trip ticket off-peak with the Metro North Rail would be $30.88 per individual. And then also the kids would probably want to get their own subway card, which would be about $10 each. So we're looking at about $575 total cost per student, and that's at the higher end. $250 of that they would be responsible for paying. The remainder of that, based on the number of students who sign up and purchase tickets to go, we would then, as a small group, fundraise to help offset the cost of the travel and the hotel, as well as their meals. So that's about it. If you have any questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any questions? Mrs. Donovan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Miriam. My first question is, this is exclusively for students in grades 8 through 12? Is that the limit?
Yes, it is 8 through 12. Yep.
And they don't necessarily have to be in the drama club or participate in the drama club. If we have students that want to do this but are not part of your organization, they can still...
Absolutely. And I started with the drama club. I wanted to put it out there to them first, but pending approval, I will advertise it to the larger school.
Okay. And then as far as the hotels, why you've shown us how you've come up with the price for lodging, they won't be staying at different hotels. I just want to clarify, once you pick one, that's where they'll all be, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yep. All right, that's all I had. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mrs. Congdon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, I just returned from New York on Monday, and we stayed at the Comfort Inn.
Oh. Was it good?
It was excellent, and breakfast is included, because I noticed you had breakfast as a meal, but at the hotel, at the Comfort Inn, breakfast is included, and they have a great breakfast.
Oh, okay, so minus some money off of that.
Just a little FYI, maybe that'll save some of the kids' money. But the hotel was great, and I was in all those areas, and I think it would be a great experience for the students. My 7- and 9-year-old went, and they walked all those miles and streets, and I think it would be a great experience for the kids. So thank you for proposing this to us.
Thank you.
Anything else? What a great opportunity for the kids. Thank you so much for that, and for all that you do and all that you've done over the past year for the students in the drama club. We've seen some great shows. I do have a question for you.
Yes.
I had already said on tonight's agenda we weren't going to take up anything. If we delay a provisional vote on this, no later than June 9th? Is that still enough time? Or would that be problematic?
So the next batch of tickets are released on July 18th, and then after that, the final batch will be October 17th. Ideally, I would like the kids who are going to purchase their tickets by July 18th, because I can then book the rooms out. So I think that would be enough time.
Okay.
You know, that would be about a month.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mr. Olivo?
Just one question.
Sure.
Does the price of the ticket go up as you get closer to in October?
For the conference, no.
Okay.
Not for the conference. That rate is standard throughout the conference until the last batch of tickets is sold. The only thing that may fluctuate would be like the hotel. That's why the sooner I can, reserve the rooms, I can lock in a price, and I'm hoping that since we're a student group, that maybe I can seek further discounts.
So I just Googled and found the Comfort Inn South, and it did say that they included breakfast. And the rooms are really nice. I go to New York all the time, my wife and I and children. A subway card for $10 is probably going to be a lot more than that.
Okay. I'm going to try to avoid taking the subway. I want the kids to walk.
Walking is good.
Weather permitting,
And so I guess my next question was going to be, do you already have permission slips for the parents, or are you waiting for
I'm waiting for approval.
Vote?
I'm waiting for approval.
Now, on the side of the meetings that you've already had with the students, have you also had meetings with the parents to kind of get, students can say yes all day, but...
No, again, I was waiting approval. I didn't want to, go into this without knowing whether or not I would be allowed to take the students on an overnight trip. I didn't think it would be fair to I have discussed it with some of the parents who are a part of my Backstage Parents Organization. Some of them are here this evening. Thank you very much for coming. But in terms of like the parent population at large, I have not. Again, I was waiting for approval. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket.
Well, I just want to comment and think that this would be a great opportunity for the students to experience the arts in New York, which are awesome. And also just say that, you know, with a vote or with an approval, I would just like to see the logistics tightened up. Other than that, I think that's a great opportunity.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anybody else? No. Thank you very much,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Krantz. Appreciate it. And I'll let you know when we're going to take it up. I'll give you a date certain.
Okay,
when I
thank
know.
you.
Thank you. Next, we have agenda item number 7, and that's reports. The first report is of the representative of the Student Advisory Committee. Good evening, Mr. Boisberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Prom was held this past Friday at the Southbridge Hotel and Conference Center. Everybody looked great, the venue was decorated nicely, and everybody made it safe home that night. The National Honor Society has finished all of their fundraisers this year following the spaghetti shebang. We are still offering tutoring after school on Tuesdays and Thursdays for anybody in the Southbridge Middle High School. Members of National Honor Society have volunteered to babysit Charlton Street School students during an upcoming parent night. Next week is senior week. Rehearsals are scheduled as well as class night, which is going to be on that Wednesday. And of course, graduation is that Friday, June 5th at 6 p.m. at McMahon Field. Southbridge Festival is this Saturday, and the Southbridge Middle High School Marching Band will be featured in the parade. Come show your support to them. That's all. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Next, we have school committee reports, Budget and Finance Subcommittee. Dr. Page.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's no report. We do have a meeting scheduled for June 1st, Monday, from 6 to 7 p.m.
Thank you very much. Negotiation and IBB Subcommittee.
No report, no meeting scheduled.
And the Wellness Advisory Committee, have they done for the year?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Policy Subcommittee, no report, no additional meetings scheduled. So we move to report of the Finance Director, Mr. Osborne.
Sure. We are in the process of starting to prepare for the year end, to close the year down. As part of that, we're also starting to plan for next year to better align the budget when that finally comes forward to sort of reality, aligning a few budget items where they belong more appropriately. That's it.
Thank you. Report of the Superintendent.
Thank you.
Sas.
I wanted to say thank you to the public for coming out to the hearing last evening, especially to the students who presented last night, and I see some of them here this evening. So thank you so much for your report and your input into the public hearing. I think it's wonderful that students participate in the democracy and the democratic effort when we have events like this. I wanted to say also thank you to the public for a very respectful conversation. I think that it demonstrates to our students the commitment we have to put students first, particularly when the discussion or the decision may be a difficult one. So thank you to the community for your input, and it will be taken into consideration as we move forward. My formal report tonight is basically the SWEC report. This is the Special Education Collaborative that we work with to provide additional support for our students. To the committee, there is specific information for you. I can report that SWEC has hired a new director and also a finance director and are also, like many school districts, struggling under some financial stresses. They have had in the past reduced enrollment, which has led to some fiscal strain, and they are dealing with that. And they have had, thankfully, an increase in enrollment, so they are able to provide and reinstate some of the services. They are also looking at reallocating staff moving forward. And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nothing else to report? You're all set, Ms. Stanton? Is that child okay? Is Ms. Chapman, you want to check? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. I neglected to do this earlier, and I'm terribly sorry about it, but I want to thank Dr. Garcia and the jazz band for their performance earlier this evening. That meeting had been moved around, and he was able to accommodate it, and the students were able to accommodate it, and what a great jazz band we have. Every time you get to hear them, they're incredible, you know, so thank you for that. And now I will request a motion to enter executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, subsection 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the government's bargaining or litigation position, and the chair so declares. I do so declare. Also pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiation with non-union personnel and to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. And I am adding an exemption to open meeting for executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, subsection 5, to investigate charges of criminal misconduct or to consider the filing of criminal complaints. I need a motion.
So moved.
Ms. Quinney makes the motion. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Abrahamson. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Olivo?
Yes.
Dr. Page?
Yes.
Mrs. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Quinney?
Yes.
Mr. Abrahamson?
Yes.
Mrs. Congdon?
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin?
Yes.
Yes. All yes.
Thank you. The school committee will reconvene in open session for the purpose of adjournment only. Thank you very much.